The 879th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMA SGPN.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos, of episode 879 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Tony Toro, who came through for us at the old Fury Challenger Series, even though it was a stacked card. It wasn't really a Challenger Series. We're going to talk about more of that very, very shortly. I'm the Berserker, Jeff Fox. Change my name again. I like the Berserker.
Was Jeff the Berserker or Jeff Berserker?
Jeff Berserker Fox. Yeah. No, I'm the Berserker. That is Daniel Gumby-Reardon. We're going to let him gloat a little bit because the last episode, we had not gotten, we hadn't tallied up
Fury wasn't
the results from Fury yet. Fury is now done. Gumby had a good weekend for regional. And since this is a regional episode, I'm going to let him gloat a bit. Go ahead.
No, I had a good weekend, but I did pretty bad in the main events.
And that pisses people off a lot of times,
yeah,
too.
Well, what was...
They only watch
I wish I could remember the UFC card, but I think I went like 10-2, yes. And I missed the main event, and they were like, what were you talking about? And I was talking about a lot of really good picks. Yeah. But yeah, no, this week, if you don't count the 3 main events, so we broke down Ryzen, we broke down Fury Challengers 14, Super Ryzen, I should have said. It's Super
right?
Ryzen.
Yeah, it was Super
Fury Challengers 14 and LFA 213. If you don't count the main events, we're a perfect 9-0 on the weekend, which included a plus 170 underdog, a plus 425 underdog, and then a couple of close lines. But if you count the main event, we went 0-3. We missed every single one of them. The makeshift LFA main event, because their 2 main events actually fell off, and then they wound up with Jacob Rosales and Chris Gonzalez in the main event, and we saw Gonzalez just outpoint him a little bit. And then the main event in Ryzen, Kleber Herbst lost a very close split decision. He probably could have won over Asakura. And then as we are recording this right now, Hector Sainz beat Ilir Bakhtiar Ulu, which was kind of a surprise to me, to make me go 4-1 on Fury Challengers, which I was pretty proud of. The 4-1. I 5-0 would have been much nicer, but yeah, altogether huge weekend because of those underdogs. We're up like 5 or 6 units. We're back in the like 35 to 37 range, somewhere in there. I got to do the actual math.
Amazing.
We've been recording, but we're up. We're inching towards plus 40 units on regional MMA this year.
Amazing. Just thought we should mention that off the top. So
and that's only 1 unit per fight every fight. Yeah. Remember, we're not getting fancy here, because I know some people are like, yeah, I bet 72 units on that last fight to win 41, and then they're gloating about how many units they're up. So yeah, that's 1 unit per fight too. So
yeah. That's how we roll, just in case you are a new viewer and or listener. So there you go. Before we give you the winning plays, today's Urijah Faber episode. SGPN, the Sports Gambling Podcast, is back with their 32 NFL team previews. They're also bringing back the phrase that pays. Each episode, they'll give out 1 word of a 32-word phrase. Submit the phrase for a chance to win a $1,000 circa future. So check out Sports Gambling Podcast, SGP, the mothership podcast, wherever you get your fine podcasts. All right. We're kind of a quieter week for non-UFC, but we have a pretty solid. At least it's got a bunch of names on it that you probably heard of. Urijah Faber, A1 Combat, 29 Maximov versus Indio is going down to Wheatland, California. I haven't heard of that, but I have heard of California and a lot of these fighters. This is August the 1st, so a Friday event, just like the old PFL, 10 p.m. Eastern time. It is on UFC Fight Pass for you. So when the PFL has like 45-minute breaks between fights, you can get plenty of A1 combat into your eyeballs at that point. So thoughts on this fight card? You're saying it would have been good a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, like,
falling off.
How high was I on Nick Maximov once upon a time? Mm-hmm. And he was also the victim of one of our favorite cashes too. Remember, we had the Gerald Mearshart submission on him, right?
Right. Yep.
And so like I was huge on him. Valente's, he goes by Indio now. Indio's record looked better earlier. Toby Mish was on, or Mitch was
Misech.
on. Yeah, I know it rhymes with quick.
Oh, really?
His nickname's Too Quick, right? Too Quick, Toby Mitch.
Mitch.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, but he was
a
on
bit of a stretch.
he was on Contender Series in 2018. So like, 5 years ago, he was still kind of in that post Contender Series glow. Patershuk was 5-1 at a point. I kind of liked him, and now it's kind of, this was better. this was better a few years back.
Yeah. So it's I'm sure there's some up and comers on the card.
I mean, I still think Maximov has kind of a high ceiling, and like some of these other guys have decent ceilings. Like they just need they need this revitalization, which is what Maximov has been doing for Fabers.
Yep. All right. So if you want to go see these guys fight, Hard Rock Live in Wheatland, California, 15 fights on the card.
6.
Pardon me.
Yeah, there's only 6 pro fights.
Oh, really? Most of them are regional. Okay, 6 fights on the card.
9 of them are amateur.
All right, so we're going to give you 5, and then Gummy's going to give you a lightning round. You got a lightning round for the
one lightning round.
Fantastic. Yeah. Hey, if you got a problem with that, talk to Uriah Faber. He's one that sets these cards up. You would think, or at least lends his name to it.
Got his name on it.
We're starting with welterweights. Rafael Vega versus Joaquin Garcia, both from the United States. I want to see if Gummy knows anything about these guys.
Seen them both fight.
There you go. The dream. Garcia is 1-0 with 1 submission. Gummy's seen the fight. That fight took place in A1, which makes it easier because then you can at least check out the UFC archives, UFC Fight Pass archives, and find it. 3 years younger than Vega. Vega's 1-1 he's been knocked out once. Both of the fights took place in A1. So there you go. TKO loss in his last bout after winning a decision in his pro debut. No odds yet for Uriah for this event. You can get A1 combat some books, right?
Yeah, it's usually on the offshores, if I'm being honest. And they're easier to find in weeks where there's not a ton of regional MMA, and those offshore books are looking for stuff. So like this week of all weeks, it's probably a good week for it. In this fight, I think Garcia is going to be the favorite. My guess is in the 225, 230 range. And he's my pick here. First of all, he's going to be the favorite. You got a 1-0 versus a 1-1. Almost always the 1-0 gets installed as a favorite here. I went and watched Garcia's lone pro fight because, as you said, it was on A1. The first thing I noticed is his striking was kind of awkward and wide, and he looked like he was having trouble settling into that striking. It looked a little frantic, and I was like, that's maybe somebody who I don't want to be behind in that. But then I found some old footage of him fighting as an Ami. He's actually got a pretty robust amateur career as well. And when I went back and I watched, there's this one fight where he tags his opponent and he is just putting crisp combinations on the guy. And I was like, man, maybe I just I was really glad I went back and watched the second fight because I had pretty much just been like, this dude's striking is not ready. And so his striking could actually hold up. And then the funny thing was I was considering picking him anyway because his ground game is so good. He's a body lock takedown kind of guy. When he's got you on the ground, he works different kinds of submissions. He particularly likes the front headlock kind of stuff, the Darce, anacondas, all that kind of stuff. So he's sharp on the ground, but if that striking looked as good as it did in the amateur fight, I was like, man, this guy might actually be a prospect. And then when you watch Vega, in both of his pro fights, because I found footage on both of his pro fights, he got chin checked in both of them. One of them real bad. One of them he recovered from, but clearly got tagged. And it's that defense that I'm worried about because with Garcia, again, his striking looked surprisingly good, and at one time it looked kind of bad. The other time, who knows what could have influenced that difference. But even within that too, he's probably going to take him down and work his ground game. But in the meantime, he could lay in the hands. And Vega also, it's worth noting that in his win, his back got taken 3 different times in that fight. So if you're up against a guy who's good at jiu-jitsu and you keep giving up your back, he's lucky to have survived that and come out with the decision. But that's not going to work, I don't think, against Garcia. So give me Garcia here. I think he gets a finish. I'm not sure which kind of finish he gets, but I'd be surprised if books were offering finish props on a 1-0 guy versus a 1-1. But I like Garcia to finish this fight.
They should. Degenerates demand it. They should. All right. Before we get into more degenerate plays, let me tell you about Circa Million and Circa Survivor. The world's greatest sportsbook, Circa Las Vegas, is hosting the world's biggest pro football contest. Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and Circa Grandissimo with over $21 million in guaranteed prizes. You can't call yourself a true degen if you're not competing in the Circa football contest. Come hang out with SGPN at the Circa contest weekend, August 21st, 23rd, for an amazing weekend, including live shows and open bars. Plus, you get 15% off a stay at the Circa with promo code SGP15. Contests are open to everyone. Sign up in Nevada and play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com, use promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. And Underdog Best Ball Media is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog also is a great place to play at Pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Gumby, do you have a play for us?
Yeah, I'm all about on Tuesday. Jonathan Keanan. Do you know Jonathan
No,
Keanan?
you keep coming up with people I haven't heard of. Of course
you know, dude. Jonathan Keanan, pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. One of the reasons why you've never heard of him. But I was big on him recently, and in his most recent game, he struck out 9 in only 4 1/3 innings, which is a pretty absurd line. And now he gets the Phillies, who've got quite a bit of swing and miss in their lineup, too. So give me the higher than on Jonathan Keanan strikeouts.
Where do you think it'll be set at, Gumby?
We're recording this a little bit earlier, but he's coming off of a 9 strikeout one. He was a little bit under, I wouldn't be surprised if it was either 4.5 or 5.5.
Okay.
And I think he'll find 5 or 6.
All right. So take that and take the promo code I'm about to give you. That would be MMASGPN. Take it all over at underdogfantasy.com. That way you get to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. All right, let's get 2 more winning fights here. We're going off. Veteran. Yes, Erick Sánchez versus Humberto Bandenay. So Sánchez is from the United States. Bandenay is from Peru. They're fighting at 155. I will tell you about Bandenay first. 24-9 with 2 no contests, 8 knockouts, 10 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 4 times. This is his A1 combat debut. He's 2-1 over his last 3, 6-1 with 1 no contest over his last 8. Got TK out in his last bout. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. He went 1-3 in the UFC. Used to fight at 145. 2013 pro MMA debut. 4 years younger than Sánchez. 3 inches taller, 3 inches of reach advantage on him. Sánchez is 13-8, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He's 2-2 in A1 combat. Lost win over his last 4. 4-2 over his last 6. 1-1 in Bellator RIP. 1-0 World Series of Fighting. Used to fight at 145. 2014 pro MMA debut.
So my guess here, Bandenay, negative 230, 240, and like a plus 200 or a little bit over that return on Sánchez. And I'm going to go dog. I think, so first of all, the reason I think that line will be where it is, Bandenay has a win in the UFC, a knockout win in the UFC, and a pretty extensive regional record. His record doesn't look bad, despite maybe not having the results he wants recently. Sánchez is 13-8. Books don't install those guys as favorites all that often. But if you watch his recent fights, even the ones he loses, I really like the head movement from Sánchez. Like, he's really hard to hit. And one of the things people liked about Bandenay early in his career was, like, he kind of had some crazy knockout power. Like, I think he won his first UFC fight with a head kick in 29 or 30 seconds. But here's the thing, too. I actually think Sánchez has beaten better guys than Bandenay, despite Bandenay having won in the UFC. Erick Sánchez is coming off a win over Ernie Juarez, who was just on Contender Series. And who did Juarez fight? It was somebody really tough. And so, like, he just got done fighting Ernie Juarez, and he pieced him up on the feet. And Juarez is a Nate Diaz Academy guy, and has good boxing. But Sánchez moved his head really well. He beat him up. He did get taken down twice, which is a little bit of a concern against Humberto Bandenay, because Bandenay now is kind of like turned into relying on his jiu-jitsu as like his way of revitalizing his career. And he was always good at jiu-jitsu, but he's like one of those jiu-jitsu guys who like got a fun knockout and forgot he was good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But like the takedowns for Erick Sánchez got taken down both times when he threw a flying knee. So, like, as long as he doesn't throw a flying knee, like, his takedown defense kind of held up. And, like, Bandenay in his last fight went to go shoot a takedown, got about halfway through attempting it and was like, screw this, and pulled guard. And, like, if you're doing that against Sánchez, a guy who actually did wrestle at the end of that Ernie Juarez fight pretty well, like, I think Sánchez either just, like, stands back up or keeps himself safe from the guard. He probably doesn't even try to do anything particularly crazy. So for me, Sánchez is going to be way faster, way harder to hit. Definitely better footwork. all of that kind of stuff on Bandenay, and like on top of that, might have a wrestling advantage. So probably if he comes in here as an underdog, probably my favorite underdog of the weekend.
Nice. Jose Delgado was who
yeah. So like
beat Juarez, yeah.
Who then immediately walked into the UFC and pieced up Connor Matthews in like a violent way too. So yeah, and then I think is Jose Delgado already 2-0 with 2 knockouts in the UFC? Like he's
now you're gonna make me look that up too.
Yeah, we're gonna go to
intern.
Topology wormhole here.
Exactly, it happened.
Yeah, he just won a second knockout, if I'm not mistaken.
This is how Gumby finds nicknames for me a lot of times by going down these.
That's where I found Tony Mustard and Christian Soda.
Oh yeah, yes, Hyder Emil.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, I was on the right side of that one. You had Hyder Emil.
Yep. Gumby remembers all that. He remembers all his wins over me because there's so few and far between. We're going to 185. Kevem, Felipe, Brazil. Keanan, Patershuk from Canada. 3 5-minute rounds. We know
like
who's
the air horns.
Air horn. But we're a low budget production. It has all through my mouth. Only sound effects are through our mouths. Parada is Patershuk. That's some jiu-jitsu term apparently, Gumby. To train hard.
It's
Pahada, is it?
I think it like it's like one of those words that found its own meaning.
Yeah. But he's a Canadian. He's 5-3, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice. He owes his rounds. 1-0 at A1 combat. He has lost 2 straight though, and he's won 3 of 5. His last 2 losses, both via TKO. Not good. 7 inches reach though over Felipe. Felipe is Mexicano. 10-8, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted twice. 2-2 in A1 combat. Former champion of that promotion. He's won 2 of 3 and 4 of 6. He lost his last bout. Regional champion. He's fed at 170 and 205. 2014 pro MMA debut. 2 inches taller than Patershuk.
I guess it's Felipe, negative 150. We'll say like a slight favorite over Patershuk. And I like Felipe in this fight.
Obviously.
Fade the Canadian. No, but like, all right, here's my problem with Patershuk. I went back and I watched the fight. He fought Johan Lainez.
Yeah.
Okay? And early in that fight, he tagged Johan Lainez. I was like, oh, he's got him hurt. And you know what he did? Clinched him.
I love when guys do that.
Immediately clinched him. And here's the worst part about that. Didn't have the takedown game to get Lainez to the ground. And like, no offense again to Lainez. I know when I do these breakdowns, people catch shrapnel. Shout out to Bubba Jenkins in the last episode. Yep. But like, that's been Johan Lainez's problem, right? Is that like he's a big striker who sometimes doesn't grapple all that well. And here Patershuk is like he tagged him, he got him on the area where Lainez is good, and then was immediately like, let's go where I'm uncomfortable and not good at this. And wasn't able to get Lainez down. And for me, I think Patershuk's going to try takedowns here and not get him on Felipe. Felipe's got good leg kicks. His hands are definitely faster. I also really don't like the striking defense of Patershuk. I think that's ultimately why he loses that fight with Lainez. But he's one of those guys who, like, as the fight goes on, his hands lower more and more and more and more and more and more as the fight goes. He starts up high and like he's got a good boxing defense, and then he throws a couple of punches. He's like, yeah, that was good. And then they're just like all of a sudden on his collarbone. And then he throws a couple of punches and those are good. And all of a sudden they're on the bottom of his rib cage. And I don't know if he's tiring or if just like he needs the constant reminder, like, dude, get your hands up. But I think it's bad enough that Felipe probably can catch him on something, maybe a counter or something like that. But I like Kevem Felipe for those reasons.
All right, haters gonna hate. That's just the way it goes. Always. It's gonna be. All right, we are to what A1 Combat site says is the co-main event, right? Anthony.
That's what it says.
Figueroa, right? Toby. You said it rhymes quick. Toby Misech.
I think it does because his I think it does because his nickname is Too Quick.
Yeah, Too Quick.
Toby Misech.
Okay. Too Quick is 12-12. Too quick to pick up some losses there. He's been knocked out 8 times. He's knocked out 8 people. He himself has been knocked out 4 times, submitted 4 times. This is his A1 Combat debut. He's lost 5 straight fights, Gumby.
And the win in there, too, I might add, is a DQ for an illegal strike.
Yes.
So he has it like 1-1 and even longer.
Yeah. So he's lost 5 straight. He's 2-5 over his last 7. But like Gumby said, his very last loss, very last win, which was back in June of 2022, was a DQ.
Really could be 1-8 in his last time.
Yeah. Two straight losses versus TKO. He won that DQ fight back in June 2022. Like I said, 2-1 in Bellator RIP. 0-1 in Contender Series. Who beat him, Gumby?
I want to say, is the last name Palacios?
I don't know. Does his nickname rhyme with that or? Too quick, Jose Palacios.
Ricky Palacios.
Let me see.
I'm going to say Ricky Palacios. Final answer.
That's your final answer. You're correct, Ricky Palacios. Whatever happened to him?
He didn't get signed.
Okay. Yes, he lost to Ricky Palacios. So it didn't age well then. Multiple region championships on his. Correct. We're talking about Misech again, or Misech, or Quick, or whatever his name is.
Too quick.
Get our merch, get all the good stuff, sportsgamblingpockets.com/star. He's too quick. I'm too quick with the ad read there. Used to fight at 135 and 145. Missed weight before at 135. 2012 Pro MMA debut. 0-2 in bare knuckle boxing. Figueroa, 6-1, 1 knockout, 1 submission. He's been submitted once. He also has some finishes. 4-1 in A1 combat. He's won 2 straight. He's 2 inches taller than whatever, however you say his last name.
Yeah. So here's the play for me here. So I'm gonna take Anthony Figueroa. I'm gonna say his line is not gonna be playable here because I think Misech is better than like the -500 you're gonna see on Figueroa.
Yeah.
I don't want to back him because he's been so bad lately.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think he's terrible, and I don't think he's appreciably worse than Figueroa either. Because here's the big problem with Misech too, is that like Misech has had issues with getting tagged lately. Like he gets hit a lot, despite being very fast on the feet. Like he is quite quick on the feet. He still has had issues with getting tagged. And you know, I talked about it on yesterday's episode about people who are fast but haven't like turned into those like bouncy guys who waste energy for no reason. Misech is the guy who bounces and for seemingly no reason, is like thinks that makes him more elusive, and it hasn't really made him more elusive because he's on a tremendous losing streak where he hasn't really won a fight since 2019. My problem here is why I can't get behind Figueroa too much at whatever price he'll come in at. Is Figueroa doesn't have a lot of knockout power. Like there's not a lot of finish in that guy, particularly on the stand-up. His striking is sharp, but there's just something about it that's not particularly strong. And, you know, he does go to his wrestling a lot. I think he could have success there with his wrestling too, you know, and we've seen Misech have problems, you know, pretty much anywhere. And, you know, the biggest problem being his chin lately. Maybe he's the guy who like, you know, helps Figueroa find his power. But I just can't get behind a guy whose last win came pre-pandemic, you know, right. And is now 12-12. And, you know, as you mentioned, like, you're like miss weight at bantamweight. It's like now he's fighting at lightweight. Like, you know, sometimes that move up is worth it, but moving up twice is sometimes not. So yeah, I'm gonna take Figueroa, bigger, stronger, probably gonna wrestle, and Misech just too much problems with the chin.
Bigger, stronger would be something I say in my breakdowns all the time.
Yeah, I know.
All right, hey, I know you're disappointed in yourself. I know. All right, AI, which is never wrong, says it's Misech is how you pronounce that.
Misech.
Yeah.
Too quick, Misech. That doesn't sound right.
No,
I'm not trusting AI.
Nope. I don't think you should. All right.
AI, yeah. Somebody in the Discord, I can't say it about it last night, but asked the Google AI a question about Saturday's fight card, and it gave them an answer that said 7 is greater than 7. So
oh well, it's true. The AI is messing with us all. All right, before we get to the main event and our one lightning round pick, MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie's your place to bet in every sport, including MLB, WNBA golf, and of course football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. They have easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. They have a whole plethora of MMA lines, so it's not just the sports I mentioned. So definitely get in there and check out the MMA lines. And when you do head to mybookie.ag, use our promo code MMASGPN, then you get to claim a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. And you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends, essentially the best of the best of what their house model has to offer. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time. when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No tells, no noise, just clean data back bets. MLB power trends are 254 or 147, a win rate of 63%, and an ROI of 4.5% in their past 400 bets. And WNBA power trends are 35 and 20 since launch, 63.64% win rate, 20.7% ROI. Download the Rhythm app, check out power trends, and start betting smarter. We will be. I bet the bet that Gummy just gave us was from power trends, probably.
Yeah, when we were talking about Jonathan Keanan earlier, I don't watch White Sox games because I don't hate myself.
Yeah, who does?
But yeah, where else are you going to find out about guys like Jonathan Keanan?
Yep, exactly. Power trends. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm, RITHMM. He's too busy watching Colorado Rocky games. That's why he can't watch national game, or national games either. Or
watching the Braves right now ain't that far from those two teams. Do you know their entire starting rotation from opening day is on the IL?
Yeah, I do, because I wrote an article the other day saying how they're healthy again. But no, actually, just the everyday players are healthy. The whole rotation is injured. So yeah. All right, main event time would be let's scroll up. It's for a belt. A1 Combat vacant middleweight championship. Gumby.
I don't think
maybe you're stretching it here. Why is it vacant?
I don't think they've ever given it away, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, new promotion.
They've started. I mean, they're 29 fight cards in, but like they've started a couple of different belts, and then they've kind of gone away from some of them. And yeah. I know they've had. I think lightweight was available at one point because I think Ernie Juarez had it, and then they not a ton of belts out there yet on Urijah Faber.
One of these men will get one of the belts. Nick Maximov, Renato Valente, they're fighting 3 5-minute rounds, it says. So I don't think they do the full 5 in A1 Combat unless typology is wrong. And they're fighting at 185. Valente, Indio is what he goes by now. 11 and 7, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. This is his A1 Combat debut. He's 4 and 4 over his last 8. TKO win in his last bout. Lost win during that stretch there. Not getting much traction here. 1-0 Bellator, RIP Bellator. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. He's fought at 185 and 195. 2015 Pro MMA debut. 0-1 as a pro grappler, an inch taller than Maximov. Maximov is 12 and 2, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted once. 2-0 in A1 Combat. The former champion left the promotion and has come back now.
Oh, so that's why it was.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. It's right there, right there in my notes. Yeah, he left. He didn't lose. He left, and has come back. Prodigal son has returned. He's won 4 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. TKO win in his last bout. His last lost in October 2022. Went 2-2 in the UFC. We made some money off him when he was there, fading him. 1-0 contender series. He's fought at 205 and 265. 5 and 5 as a pro grappler. 5 years younger than Valente or Indio. 4 inches of reach advantage on him.
I think we made money backing him too, because I think we took him against a low IQ Cody Brundage.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yes, that was the olden days.
Yeah, before he became high IQ Cody Brundage, who now he has a win-loss, no contest and draw in his last 4 fights. He just got his last loss overturned into a draw.
Yes.
Did you see that? That's good for Cody Brundage. I'm going to go Nick Maximov here. My guess is he's going to be a little bit bigger than 200, maybe negative 225 or something like that. The UFC background, the fact that he was the champ already. Valente doesn't have like a record that's going to challenge that and make people, think too much about making Maximov a favorite. And for me, Maximov's hands still haven't come to where I want them to be in order for him to get back in that prospect status and beg the UFC to sign him again. He's got that slow jab that I don't really love, and he doesn't really put combinations together more than what feels like he's probably doing on the mat. Like it's rote. He just kind of feels like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and it's still got a little ways to go. But the bottom line is his jiu-jitsu is just so good. He continues to be a guy who I really trust his jiu-jitsu, and I trust his jiu-jitsu more than I trust his wrestling or his striking. But I think I think if he just wrestles early in this fight, I think Valente will tire. Because that's what I saw in the Buddy Wallace fight. Like Valente actually tagged Buddy Wallace real early when those two fought. But then I watched that fight, and I was into the second round, and Valente looks up at the clock to see how much time's left.
Yeah, it's never good.
And it's 3 minutes in the second round. It's the second round, dude. And, he's already looking at the clock. And I'm like, dude, if you are tired 7 minutes into a fight with Buddy, whoa, it's like, it's just going to take Maximov, like even a couple failed takedown attempts, right? And then Valente should be slow enough that Maximov's boxing is going to play. And then just like one takedown should do the work too. So yeah, for me, I still need to see more out of Maximov. Hopefully this is a fight where we can see maybe that striking is progressed or something like that. But the bottom line is even just the wear and tear on Valente is going to be enough here for him. So give me Nick Maximov. All
right, let's give you a recap. He's got Maximov. He's got Figueroa. It's so easy. He's got Felipe. He's got Sánchez. He's got Garcia. All right, lightning round. Zappe, Boom, Pow. You've got one fight to choose from, Gumby. Which fight are you going to do?
I'm going to take Michael Corneja. Neya? It's EYA.
Don't ask me.
Corneja. He's 0-1 in his pro career. Yeah. And he's going to be fighting a guy who's 0-0, but I'm going to take the 0-1. I watched the guy who's 0-0 in some of his AMI fights, and like the grappling is not there yet. He's clearly just going to get taken down a whole bunch of times. And from what I saw from Corneja, like, yeah, his complete game is not there. You wouldn't expect it to be one fight into his pro career, and certainly not with that fight being a loss. But he does got some like power wrestling, and that seems to be his opponent's weakness. So I'll take Corneja, 0-1. Maybe you find a halfway decent line on an 0-1 guy.
He's watching AMIs for you guys. Come on. What more do you want from him? All right, you're all set now for Urijah Faber 29. If you want picks for all the AMI fights, hit Gumby up in the Discord. sportsgamblingpockets.com/Discord, or hit Gumby up on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast, or hit him up on Twitter. SGPN MMA, he runs that account for us. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer, at Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram as well. Check out my Substack on my MMA writing and various stats and stuff I crunch are on there as well, as I'm having trouble talking, as well as a free weekly UFC pick'em. moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has a podcast that he talks better than I do on. He interviews mostly Contender Series people this time of year, and that's called Top Turtle.
Yeah, we got Ty Miller and David Wilson, who both got their Contender Series fights coming up.
There you go. So check it out. And of course, sportsgamblingpockets.com, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get your merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. Parado, Fox, Mexicano, Vreeland will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, the UFC has a new main event. As of this recording, they lost their main event. So we'll see. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Adios.